Let's explore wild wonders at the San Diego Zoo.
Hey everybody, I'm Rick Schwartz and I'm here at Utah's Hogle Zoo. You know, every now and then you have to take medicine. In fact, you might be taking medicine now. But have you ever wondered, how do you give a giraffe medicine? Or even a toad? So I heard we're gonna see how to give medicine to a giraffe, elephants, I think a big cat or two, sloths, and even a toad. Hey Dr. Eric, how's it going?
Hey Rick, what's up?
Well, I heard you're gonna show me how to give medicine to certain animals today.
You bet. I was just checking out the zebra and the guinea fowl, but let's go.
All right, excellent. All right, Dr. Erica, who are we hanging with right now?
This is a sloth and her name is kohlrabi.
This is so cool. Now, we have been talking about giving medicine to different animals. How do you give a sloth medicine?
Well, everyone loves fruit, right? Well, kohlrabi loves melon, she loves grapes, so we medicate a grape every day.
And then you just feed it to her, I guess, huh?
Yep, the keepers come into the rainforest and they give her a medicated grape every day.
So I have read that it can take up to 7 days for a sloth to process all its food. Does that change how frequently or how much of the medicine you give?
You know, that's a great question. We still give the same amount of medicine every day, but it does take about 7 days for her to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
Good girl.
All right, so who do we have here?
So this is Kapenzi. She's one of our giraffes.
Hi, Kapenzi.
She's really social. She loves hanging out with us.
Obviously doing all right, yeah. So we've been talking about how we give meds to animals. Giraffe are a little bit different than some of the other animals we've met so far. How do you give medicine to a giraffe?
So Kapenzi loves bread and she loves kale. So if it's a medicine that we could put in bread or stick to kale, it'll go down the hatch.
Well, there you go. And so what do you do? Like a powder on the bread, or is it like a bagel smear? How does that work?
So we're giving her a daily medicine. Think of it as a nutritional supplement. It's a powder. So the keepers make a bread sandwich, wet it down, and then she uses her 18-inch long tongue to help get it down into her mouth.
Obviously, wow. This is great. Well, and it probably helps that the keepers have such a good relationship with these animals that they trust them enough to do something like this.
Yeah, Kapenzi's really personable, and she loves hanging out with her keepers, and luckily her veterinarian, so it's not a problem. At least today it's not.
That's great. All right, Dr. Erica, I know when we give medicine, sometimes it's a pill and sometimes it's a shot. With a toad like this, exactly how do you give medicine?
Well, we actually could get him to open his mouth and say ah and give him something in his mouth, but we prefer to use the skin that absorbs medicine.
Now, is there a term for medicine going through the skin like that?
Sure, I would call it transdermal, and in human medicine they actually sometimes will give you a patch that goes on your skin to absorb medicine, but in this case we would just drop it directly onto his skin.
Wow, and is there any other way then you could do a transdermal treatment for a toad?
Absolutely, we would do a bath. We could fill a little bathtub with some special medicine, maybe an antibiotic or a vitamin or a dewormer, and he could go right into the bath and absorb it through his belly.
All right, Dr. Erica, so who do we have here?
These are two African lions. They're 4 years old, and their names are Vulcan and Baron.
Very cool. Now, we have been talking about giving animals medicine today. What medicine do they need, or are we just practicing stuff?
So these boys are really young and really healthy, so they don't get any medicines routinely, but we do practice, and we practice by giving them daily meatballs that we could medicate, or even a syringe to get an injection.
I mean, these guys will willingly take a shot?
They are so well trained, and their keepers work with them every day, that yes, we can use what's called a pole syringe, which gives us a little bit more length than a regular hand syringe.
Very cool. Well, let's go check that out.
Valerie Valerie has a really good relationship with these lions. She's their primary keeper, and they trust her. And so every once in a while, she might put something in a meatball that tastes a little bit funny, but usually they gobble it right down.
I can see it looks like that doesn't stay on the tongue very long.
Exactly. So what we're doing right now is we're getting ready to practice a pull syringe. It's a way to be able to give an injection but not get super close to the lion. So what we'll do, Valerie has him in position, and then I'm going to use this back area and give him an injection. Are you ready, Valerie? Mm-hmm. Okay. And we'll just say the word touch when we touch him. Touch. So you can see he doesn't mind. He's really well trained, and this could be a vaccine, it could be an antibiotic, it could be even be an anesthetic if we needed to sedate him.
All right, Dr. Erica, this is pretty cool. We have this awesome elephant behind us, and we're here to talk about giving elephants medicine. How do you give an elephant medicine?
Well, elephants eat a lot, as you know, but they like a lot of fruits. So melon, pineapple, bananas, that's how we give elephants medicines.
And given that elephants are so big, how much medicine do they need to get?
Well, Dari's 55. She's the oldest African elephant that we know of. So she needs a whole lot of medicines. One of her doses is 200 pills.
Oh my goodness. And because of her age, I'm guessing this is for arthritis, just like with an older senior citizen, right?
Yep, Dari's like your grandma. So she has some aches and pains, so we have her on a couple anti-inflammatories and a couple other pain medicines to keep her comfortable.
So you're saying with all of this now, it just dawned on me, 200 pills, how do you give 200 pills to an elephant? Is this all, like you mentioned in the fruit, like how many bananas does that take?
So first we count out 200 pills, and then the keeper stuffed 200 pills into individual bananas.
Well, this has been an awesome day. Thank you so much for showing us how to give medicine to a sloth, a toad, the giraffe even, and lions, and now the elephant. This has been so much fun. Thank you.
Well, it's been our pleasure to host you here at Utah's Hogle Zoo. Thank you.
Good girl. Drop foot. All right, foothold. Good girl.
Right, wave. Good girl. So we all know elephants are big and strong and really very smart. But did you know right here at Utah's Hogle Zoo, they're also helping to cure cancer in kids? It's true. We're gonna go back and meet the keepers and the doctors working to make that happen. Hey everybody, I'm here with Eric, and he's in charge of taking care of the elephants here at Utah's Hogle Zoo. Eric, thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to have you guys here.
Now, earlier we got to see some really cool training with the elephants. Why is it not just being a keeper, but also sort of a trainer so important for taking care of these animals?
It's important for the elephants because they need to be both mentally and physically stimulated. And so in order to do that, we have these training programs where we can actually make them work muscles that they wouldn't normally work. And then that way they get to have an exercise program just like you or I.
Now, I have to admit too, some of the stuff I saw them doing, it looked kind of fun, but not just to watch, but it looked like they were having fun too, especially the younger ones.
Yeah, I think they have fun. I mean, I can't tell you for sure that they're having fun, but I think they're having fun. If they didn't want to participate, they wouldn't. They would walk away. So
one of the things I saw during the training session too, you were able to bring one of the elephants up to the side, and she voluntarily offered her ear. You were able to do a blood draw. Why is something like that important?
it's important for us to be able to see on the inside of the elephant and how they look on the inside. We can't see the inside of an elephant, so we're able to draw their blood, and then we're able to go back and analyze that blood and make sure that they are actually healthy on the inside.
And we also got to meet Dr. Shipman today, who is a pediatric oncologist, and he's interested in elephant blood. What's that partnership like from your side?
If an elephant can help a human, it just makes it even more rewarding for us as keepers, because we want to be able to help people as much as we want to be able to help elephants.
I am a pediatric oncologist, and that means I take care of children with cancer. One day, several years ago, I was at a conference where we were talking about where does cancer come from. One of the speakers got up and explained to us, did you know elephants very rarely get cancer? Now this was a big surprise, because remember I said that cells turn bad and turn into cancer. Well, elephants have so many cells, they're so big and so giant that you would think almost every elephant should have cancer because they have so many cells running around their body. But they don't, the speaker said. They have very low number of cancer. The speaker went on to explain that that may be because some of the DNA that they have, some of the genetics of elephants may have evolved to protect them from cancer. So the speaker explained this, and I went up to him afterwards, and I said, well, this is just fascinating. And did you know, back in Utah, in my laboratory, we're trying to study why people do get cancer. And we have a test where we can measure if people are at risk for cancer. And I wonder, what do you think if we could somehow get some elephant blood to study the elephant blood right next to the people blood and try to understand, why don't elephants get cancer? And the speaker got very excited, and he said, I think that's a great idea. And I said, I think that's a great idea. And he said, where are you going to get elephant blood? I said, I have no idea.
And the first time Dr. Schiffman came up to you and asked for elephant blood, what was that like for you? He told his side of the story.
He just kind of came up to me and said, hi, I'm Dr. Schiffman. How can I get some elephant blood?
Now, you and I were talking earlier, you've been here at the Hogle Zoo for quite a while. Yeah. You've had a wonderful time working with the elephants, helping even design the exhibit. For you personally, a day with these ladies here at the elephants, what is that like for you?
I like to say it's a dream come true. I mean, there's some days that are better than others, and some days are just not fun at all. But for the most part, I think I'm doing something that not a lot of people could ever dream about doing.
Rocky Shores here at Utah's Hogle Zoo is home to some remarkable animals. Some have traveled across the country, each arriving with their own unique story. Let's go take a look at two animals that had to overcome significant obstacles before calling Utah's Hogle Zoo their home.
Good, speak. Anytime you have animals, animals are eventually going to have medical needs come up, whether it happens when you first get them or when they're very geriatric. At some point in time, you're going to need to have some kind of medical interaction with the animal, whether it's they need an injection, whether you just need to check on a scrape, or they need something a little more invasive, like maybe they need an eye exam or something. And with animals, there's two ways you can do things. Either you can restrain the animal and do it, or you can use training, which means the animal will voluntarily participate with you.
So clearly a lot of the training is very important, not only for husbandry and care, so we can get a look at them, so your vets can get a look and do checkups, but then I also noticed there's a little fun dance in there too. Obviously there's some playtime involved, right?
The more that you can get the animal to be willingly participating in, the less stress there is on the animal. So we use training to get our animals to do pretty much anything we could think of. So we have Rocky, who is 4 years old, and Maverick, who's 3. Rocky stranded, and he was not able to be released, and he has some mental and physical delays. So he's a little bit uncoordinated, he's also too small for his age, and because of all that, he was not able to be released. He would not have done very well in the wild, probably wouldn't have been very successful at foraging. It was decided that he should stay in human care, where we can make sure he gets enough food, and we can keep an eye on him, and he's perfectly healthy, and we've had him now for almost 3 years, and he's doing absolutely fantastic. And Maverick actually had an injury to his right eye, so he can't really see very well out of his eye. The eye works, but he has scar tissue on it. So with his vision not being 100%, it was decided not to release him back into the wild because they were worried that he wouldn't know if there was a shark coming up to him, or he wouldn't be able to find food as well because he can only really see very well on the left side. So it's really cool to be able to not only to work with this animal and be like, I'm helping this animal, but I'm also helping people around here understand what is a marine mammal, what are they about, what do they look like, what are some things that they do, and why are these animals important? That's like the coolest feeling in the world. That's a really powerful feeling to have.
It was a lot of fun meeting Rocky and Maverick, two survivors with an astonishing tale.
Something with some penguins today.
Yeah, we're actually getting ready to go get their fish ready for the day and weigh them.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Can I come help?
Sure, let's go.
Zookeepers Stephanie, Hannah, and Jason work with African penguins at the Little Rock Zoo, and they brought me behind the scenes to see how they take care of them. Stephanie, what are we doing here?
We're actually getting the fish ready for the day for the penguins to eat, and we're going to start out by putting vitamins right inside the gills of the fish.
Why don't we finish stuffing all of these and then go out and weigh them?
All right, let's go.
These penguins may eat up to 1 pound of fish per day, which is about 14% of their body weight. That's like an 8-year-old kid eating 30 cheeseburgers. So now that all the fish have vitamins stuffed in them, how do we feed the fish to the penguins?
Well, I have a bucket of fish right here, and we'll give everyone 1 vitamin fish, and then they can have as many as they want after that.
Well, there's so many penguins, how do you keep track of who ate what?
Well, I write down how many they eat on this sheet, and then we write it down on a piece of paper in the exhibit so that we can keep track of it.
So now that we're here inside the exhibit, how do we get them from here to down where the scale is?
Well, we actually stand at the gate and we jiggle the handle and we call them, and they're used to seeing us there when we come out for food and stuff, so they just follow us right into the building.
After breakfast, keepers make sure everyone is in tip-top shape by weighing the penguins on a special scale.
Well, we're actually weighing the penguins. We weigh them every day so that we can make sure they get their fill of fish.
I see he weighs 7 pounds. Is that a healthy weight for a penguin?
That is a really good weight for him. He's very healthy.
So how do you train a penguin to get on a scale?
Well, what we do is we put the scale in a doorway and we shift all of them into the kitchen, and then they want to go over the scale to get back to their room where they usually sleep. All right, so Gable is 7 pounds. Laura is 6.6 pounds. All right, Taz is 7.6 pounds.
The Little Rock zookeepers taught us so much about caring for African penguins. It takes a lot of work to keep this penguin group fed, weighed, and happy, but everything is going swimmingly thanks to Stephanie, Hannah, and Jason's hard work.
At today's exam, I wanted to make sure that all of his bones were intact, all of his joints had a full range of motion, and everything looked completely normal on that end. Today was a little bit challenging. He was so worked up and excited that we actually had to have 3 people help out on the physical exam and the measurements. And part of that is just once he knows what we want, once he knows that we want to listen to his lungs or measure his arms, he kind of pulls that away. And just to get those good measurements, we had to have multiple people examining him today. We kind of had to do it piece by piece. First we looked at his eyes, and then we were able to look at all of his joints and listen to his heart and his lungs. But we had to take little breaks because he kept repositioning himself. And surprisingly, he's really strong, even though he looks nice and cute. He's extremely strong and he's extremely flexible too. He was really coordinated with his forelimbs and his hind limbs. When he headed for an object, he went straight there. He did stumble every once in a while, but that's normal for a panda. Once he goes out on exhibit, we're expecting him to fall a little bit, even from certain heights too. And the expectation there is just that he's learning how to climb. It's nice and soft where he's landing. And again, he's really flexible. He's got a lot of muscle that's covering all of his bones. It's completely normal. You should expect them to be falling on exhibit as they learn how to climb.
So this year at the San Diego Zoo's Wild Animal Park, we've already had 3 Kozlowski horse foals born, and they're all males. The first one that was born was on July 19th, and actually his mom, her name is Nikki, and this is the first time for her to foal, so we're excited about that. And she's 4 years old, and that's just about the age where they start to reproduce. We have 2 more females that are due in the next 1 to 3 months, so actually kind of hoping for a couple females in there, and that'll give us a total of 5 animals, and so it'll be a very good breeding season for us here. So the Kozlowski horse went extinct in the wild around the 1980s, and so then it became really important for a number of zoos who wanted to get together to start a viable captive breeding program with the intent of reintroducing these animals back into their more native habitats. And so that has been successful with the introduction into several areas in China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. We've had really good success with the breeding the Przewalski horse here at the Wild Animal Park. They came to us in 1970, the first group. In 1974, we had our first animal born. And since then, we've had 138 horses born here at the park.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time on Wild Wonders at the San Diego Zoo.